to Southland Regional Association of Realtors podcast, and I am so excited today to introduce our president of 2025, Anthony Bedgood.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here. And our 2025 President-Elect, Nicole Stinson.
Thank you.
And they're taking time out of their busy schedule to come and have a conversation and kind of just let you guys get to know them a little bit. So we'll get started right away. I have a couple of questions just to get the ball rolling. So, nothing that's going to, I'm really interested in kind of going back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We know that, you're in leadership with the association, but you've been in the industry a minute. And I think that we'd like to know, Anthony, we'll start with you. What inspired you to get into real estate? How did that even begin?
Namely money. No, I'm just kidding. I was in sales and in aggressive sales industry for a very long time. I was actually a buyer for a scrap metal company. And my territory was all over Southern California. I mean, from Bakersfield down to Chula Vista. And it was around the time that I wanted to start a family. And my wife at the time, her job was making us a lot of money. We weren't going to leave that job. So I had to find something that was more local. And I was getting kind of burnt out of that industry. And a friend who happens to also be a good friend of both of ours said, why don't you try real estate? And I had never thought of it before at all. And when I started taking the licensing exam and all of that stuff, I really fell in love with it. And it became that avenue where I could give back to my community and actually give information and teach and build up where I started in Santa Clarita Valley. So my passion really came from just learning the industry and realizing that was how I could be of service to my community.
Mm. So what it sounds like is that you were able to sort of pivot because you had the skill set already in place from the previous experiences, but then you were really, when you went into real estate, would you say that you were able to actually just, capture that part of it without having to really concentrate on the sales part? Like you were able to expand into, like you said, those relationships with clients or, with your colleagues and helping mentor and coach. So
right.
Is that kind of how that happened?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that if you really dissect what we do, it's not a sales job, it's a service job. And that's what really drove me to it. And every job that I had in sales, so to speak, was a service job. It's how do we get our clients to whatever goal they're trying to attain, right? So I went to college initially to become a history teacher, and I found out how much they make, and but I don't make much more as a realtor either. So, but yeah, I think my heart has always been in service, and I think that this is a great industry for connecting. We are a very connective industry. We have to. We're helping people attain the American dream, so to speak, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes we're helping people in their most dire of situations, right? And we are the people that can get them to that next phase, whatever that is. So when you look at it like that, it doesn't feel like sales to me. It feels like we're taking care of people, and that's what really drives me.
That's great. That's great. What about you, Nicole? How did you start out, or what kind of brought you into this industry?
I sort of a lot sooner than you did. I feel so old, but I was also a sales manager for a company in Valencia. And with my jobs that I took, I was in charge of getting the company up and running in different cities. And then no matter how good I did, the job would end. Once I get them known and network and do the public relations, I would move on to another new company to do that. So I kind of was networking with the same people just for different companies. And so my friend, who's an attorney, said, "You'd be a great real estate agent." And I went, "This is the worst time to become a real estate agent." It was in 2008 when there wasn't such things as traditional real estate transactions. They were all short sales and foreclosures. And I love a great challenge, so I jumped in. And all I knew for 6-7 years of doing real estate was, getting up at 3 a.m. and faxing the faxing. You heard it right. 100 pages to the lenders to try to get something approved, and one page would get stuck, and then you'd have to start all over again because
I love
it has to
fax
come over as a
machines.
whole packet. So I started doing that because I wanted to help people and educate people on not going to foreclosure, doing short sale, so that they can, again, have the American dream in 2 or 3 or 4, however many years it took to get their credit back. And there were so many people and so many families who were walking away from their homes, not understanding that there was options and they didn't have to operate out of fear. So like I had a goal of helping 30 to 40 families a year avoid foreclosure. And so it was just a challenge, and it was a passion. It was just getting up every day, helping families, not with the dollar sign first for me. The pay came after you help somebody avoid foreclosure, do a short sale, and have them see them go on to save their credit and upgrade their homes and, save their credit. So yeah, that's how I started.
I love how you said that, Nicole, actually. The goal was I want to help 30 or 40 families, not sell 30 or 40 homes. And
Correct.
That's amazing.
Because not many I closed. There were some that were, didn't go through.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Not all of our transactions end in dollars, and that has to be okay.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds like you came into the business sort of when there was more it was more adversarial than maybe other times. We know real estate is cyclical, so that probably helped. Would you say prepare you for other times within your career so far where maybe the market's changed or there have been other challenges that come down the pike? You think maybe that just kind of, you came in strong at a point that could have been more, was more difficult.
Yes.
And then you were able to rise to additional challenges down the road.
I did very well in the first couple of years. I think most of the people that were in real estate then that had just got started, that weren't doing it full time, or decided they were going to sell cars. A lot of people got out of the business and they got into car sales, which I would never do. But
I know. I think about it.
Do you really? Yeah, I don't think I could do that.
I think I could.
Yeah.
I think I could.
You have to, I have to love and like. I have to have some interest in what I'm doing, or like even reading. I can't read a book unless I'm interested in it, or I'll read it and I won't even know what I read on the page before.
Right.
It doesn't. I don't retain it. So helping people is interesting.
Same. Yeah.
And having a passion to do it is great. And not thinking of the dollar first, but it's great to be paid when you do a good job afterwards. And so I think leading into every transaction, don't think about the dollar, think about helping people, and the payment comes with that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I think it's telling when you say that you love a good challenge, right?
I love a good challenge.
That way you are already posturing yourself to be successful no matter what comes your way.
Yes.
So
yes.
That's a great mindset too. So now let's move a little bit fast forward a little bit to your involvement as volunteers. And I mean, you started somewhere before you sit in the positions of leadership that you sit today. So maybe give us a sense of how that started, from the very beginning. Just what entry point did you find that grabbed you and kind of carried you thus far now? Because, we have a lot of members out there that might be looking for just that point to get in and get started. So maybe for Nicole first.
I actually jumped in right away. I was very lucky. I call it luck. I was invited to an MLS networking meeting 16 years ago. And I think it was even before I passed my test. They knew that I was sort of mentoring into getting my license, but helping people and shadowing people before I even got licensed, and loved the networking aspect of it, and got licensed. And I think 1 or 2 months after I got licensed, there was a council person that had resigned. And back then, they just filled the position. So I didn't have to have the, what we have to have now, the criteria. I got in right away. And I just loved it. I love being able to, I learned so much, and I think it elevated my experience, and it gave me more juice to keep going and like just take it all in like a sponge. And so, yeah, I really attribute my early involvement in getting involved with leadership and just being involved in organized real estate as to the success that I think I had from the beginning. Most new agents don't have that many things going on in the beginning. So I really attribute it to that.
Great.
Yeah.
What about you, Anthony?
Well, it's funny is that Nicole has a large part to play in this story, because it's very similar in that networking sort of arena. And she was running the networking group when I first joined the industry. And back then, she would make you, if you were new at the meeting, you would have to like stand up and sing or run around the room and dance and do all these things just to, I thought it was very embarrassing, but it gets your feet wet in an industry of engagement, right? So it was like, she's like, don't be afraid, do whatever we say. And I think I had to run around the room or
I didn't say
something
do
crazy
whatever
like,
we say. I did
no,
that.
No, it wasn't like a hazing. Let me
it
clarify.
sounds like a college initiation.
But we have to be in this industry comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think that was a really good first lesson of like, hey, we're all in this together and don't be embarrassed, stand up and participate, and I dreaded that moment that I was called on, but
you probably felt more welcome afterwards, because when I went to mine, everyone was
100%.
very, no offense, but people were not nice.
Right. And
you sit in that room sometimes and then you don't come back and then you don't want to be involved. So
right.
I think it's good to have that moment where that happens and it kind of lets you down. And then that way everyone's like, oh yeah, you were that guy that 100%. Danced around.
Nicole is still really good at like kind of breaking the clickiness of real estate. Like she really engages with everybody. So that was a moment where I was like, these are my people.
I think you did the chicken dance.
I think I did.
Oh, that's really funny. That's
but
really funny.
one of our friends and also leaders here in the association, Louisa Henry, gave me that big push as well. And a seat on the Santa Clarita Council opened up, and I, got on it and never looked back. It was again learning about advocacy and going to my first ledge day also. Really gave me that fire of this is why we do this and this is why we help and being able to bring that information back to our industry is it's amazing. Right. It's absolutely amazing.
And that's a great segue into the next question that I'll ask you, Anthony, as president of the association this year. What would be your top initiative or goal for your presidency this year, as far as the association goes?
Well, you are the CEO, so I have to be careful how I know. I'm just kidding. I would say the industry knows we've come off of a difficult few years, right? And we've had some major changes happen in our industry that things haven't changed that much in our industry as much as they've changed in the last year or so. So we spent a lot of time in the last year dealing with that, changing policies, making sure that through NAR lawsuit and things like that we were making sure everybody was being in compliance, right? And that was our main focus. And now I think that myself and Nicole as well get to really focus on the advancement of, first off, tech is something that I'm still a little bit on the older school side. I had an old house phone before the internet where I could follow it down the hallway and find where my sister was. So, I remember my house without a personal computer, but tech is very important to me and learning about it. And, and I think it's important to our membership, but also just at a more grassroots level is getting belly to belly with our membership. And I think that we now have the opportunity to do that now that we've gotten over the hump of the last couple of years. So that's my biggest priority, is engaging our membership and making sure that everything we do is for their benefit and they know about it.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that they appreciate that. I mean, they do look to the association to be able to provide tools and communication and information that they need, because, the goal is to get them out there in front of their clients and make sure that they're putting their best front forward too.
Yeah.
And be able to conduct business. So that's great. So, I'll ask you this question. What have you found to be the most rewarding aspects of being in leadership thus far? I know you're president-elect this year, you're going to be president next year, but this is a trajectory that you've been on. So yeah, speak a little bit about that. What's been the most rewarding for you?
Well, for me, first of all, you're talking about advocacy. I was the first to, I'll be the first to admit, probably the first 10 years that I was in leadership, government affairs would come up or anything about politics, and everyone would look at me and I would be out. I'm like, the minute you start talking about any bills and I would be out of the room, not realizing, it took me a very long time in leadership to realize how important it is. It's probably one of the most important things in our industry. And so that was, sorry for all the clients I had the first 10 years that I wasn't able to help you. You lost me at government. I wasn't able to answer any questions or advocate for my clients. So for me, that is right now the most rewarding, getting involved, understanding how powerful our party can be, with bringing the needs of homeowners and homeownership to Sacramento, to our politicians, and fighting and seeing actually things change with the fight. Like, one voice can make a difference. And before that, I never really believed that. I never believed that one voice can make a difference. I never believed that, you know, a small group can make a big difference. A medium group can make a big difference. And so I've learned, and that's helped me with a lot of appreciation. And it's important as a member, it's important as a leader to believe in it and see the power of it. And so I would have to say that that's probably the thing that sticks with me, and I can't believe it took me so long to understand it and appreciate it.
And do you find yourself now encouraging others, because you've been in that road that they're probably the seat they sat in when they were kind of hesitant? So now do you find yourself, you know, being that voice to say, hey?
Yes, I've not met somebody yet that was so like me, that was so against it. I haven't, but I
have.
Talking about it now to other people, top producers or busy agents that I thought other things were important, trying to get them involved. And when I start talking about the advocacy and the power that our association has with it, it has gotten more of those people interested in being in leadership and taking the time, where I didn't think really that was the pull for it. I thought it was more networking. I thought it was more education. And those things are so important. But people that are busy, those are the voices we want to hear from. Those are the voices we want to hear. What are your clients saying? What are you needing? These are the voices that we need to hear, that maybe we haven't been listening to or going after, or have been too busy because they thought that they really had nothing to offer. So I think that, you know, that's going to help, I think.
Well, and to be fair, I mean, you were really busy taking care of your clients. And actually, we do what we do so that our membership can take care of those clients and maybe not have to understand the ins and outs of, you know, what assembly bills or Senate bills are coming down the pike, but to actually be, you know, out there in the trenches and dealing with those things and being able to talk about local initiatives. But now you've kind of taken a step back behind the curtain, and you're like, wow, I'm really into this. So
I'm not really into it yet. I'm trying.
You're getting there.
But I'm seeing the importance of it. I am getting there. And thank you.
Well, reading an entire bill is really, you know, if you ever have trouble sleeping at night.
That goes
Which I do.
That goes back to when she said, I read the page before.
Yes.
And I have to go back and read it again.
I read the first
Just tell me
paragraph
if
and
it's
the last
good,
paragraph.
and if it's not good, and why. I'm good.
So we might make this the last question, but I think it's an important question for people. You know, as much as we talk about real estate, and that's what we're doing today in the industry, and you in leadership, and you know, your professional side, you have families, you have, you know, lives outside of that. How do you balance your work-life balance? And I ask that question too, because we know that real estate is not an 8 to 5 situation, right? So how do you manage that? How do you make time for your families, for yourself, for the interests, for the hobbies that you enjoy outside of real estate?
Time? No. Vodka.
I don't balance. I don't balance it. And I'm going to tell the truth, because I have a podcast on telling the truth. Mine, I have no balance. Okay. Mine just all, it's all stirring in the pot together. It's like stew. It's all together, and I operate best that way. I operate very well with chaos, and when it's too defined, and too scripted, I don't do well.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of that I agree with, right? I've always been the guy who has to have a lot of spinning plates. And if I have one, I get bored of that one and I'll walk away from it. So if I don't have a lot of things to manage, then my brain doesn't work that way, right? But balance is becoming important in my life, where, you know, it doesn't have to be so chaotic, and, you know, you have to spend time. You know, I have a young son, and, you know, and
he's so cute too.
Thank you. I don't know. He doesn't get it from me. I'll say that. But you know, and I'm recently engaged, and I really enjoy the time that I'm getting to spend with my family right now. But you know, I think that I was telling this to a bunch of my agents the other day. Is I think that realtors are naturally ADHD minds, right? We can't stay. Like, we can't stay sedentary, right? We have to be moving and involved in the next thing, or else our minds just go absolutely crazy. So
You're like that too,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
probably
pretty much.
drives our loved ones crazy, but at the
Yeah.
same time, we're entertaining.
It's hard to shut it off. It's hard to shut it off.
Well, it sounds like you found the balance, though. That's exactly the point. The point is that you do balance it in your own way. It's just not maybe as structured or as bifurcated, each individual. So it does sound
Work
like
in
the-
progress for
My
me.
balance
But
is
it
like
sound-
this. That's what you're trying to say. But
Well,
that's
as long
balance.
as you stay in an upright position,
Right.
you're good. You're good. So, well, you know what? I mean, this has been great, and I'm so happy to have you here today and be able to get you in front of the members. And I know you're going to be doing some road trips, so
Yes.
to speak, to
Mhm.
offices.
We look forward to
Yep.
we look forward to
So,
speaking to
yeah.
everybody and
Yeah,
communicating our value, because that's
Absolutely.
yeah.
and
We have a
listen-
lot of it.
and also getting the feedback from the members, because that's a great way to do it, right? Kind
Yes.
of do mini town halls, or
Oh,
get
yeah.
in there and do broker town halls or something like
Yes.
that. So,
Yeah. Any complaints? Bring them to. I'm just kidding.
I'll take all the complaints. I love constructive criticism.
That's great.
Just have an action to it.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
how's
Come
it
with a
done?
solution. Come with a
Right,
solution.
bring a
Absolutely.
solution. Well, thanks again. We really appreciate
you.
it.
Absolutely.
And we will get you back in here probably in not too long of the future and kind of circle back and see
Actually,
how
what
it's
we're going to
going.
do, we're going to interview you
Oh,
next time.
okay.
So
Well, as long
get
as-
ready.
As long as I get
We're
the questions in advance, we'll be good.
They're going to be hard hitting. Like, what's your favorite animal? I actually know the answer to that.
Oh, well, you know who that is. All right. Well, thanks again.
Thank you.
And we'll be talking.
All right.
All
Look
right.
forward to it.
Thank you.
Yeah.